Don't screw it up, Christian.
It's too long.
They sound better like that.
Can't do it. It's too long.
Sure, here we go.
Get your wine up. I'm really liking it.
Welcome into the Recipe Podcast, Celebrity Secrets to a Successful Life. I'm your host, Chef Charles Carroll. What a great day. What a great show we have. What a great show we have for you today. It's Gourmet Club Live, and this is a Gourmet Club Live like we've never, ever done before. So I've been looking forward to doing this show, and we have an absolute full house. I think, Phoenix, this is like the...
Sounds like you're in the closet somewhere.
I know. I know the sound is a little challenging because we've got mics everywhere, but it's good to see everybody in the house. It is the Gourmet Club Live, and we got a full house. Let's get right to it. So Phil Phoenix, the podcast audio engineer. Thank you, Phil. Say hey.
Hey, what's up?
And we have the Bobbit. The Bobbit's running around doing her thing, and thank you for being a podcast producer and doing all your work and lining all these characters up, Bobbit. So thank you for that. Venus Flytrap, hey, say hey, Phoenix.
What's up?
Yeah, you doing all right? It looks like you're ready.
Yeah, let's go.
Hey, man, thanks for bringing all these some grapes, man. Some nice grapes we're enjoying this evening. Our first evening show, by the way. It's our first evening show.
Is that right? Is it evening out there?
Yeah, it is. It's our first evening show. So we have the Venus Flystar. We have Jay Claudel in the back there. Say hey, Jay.
Hey, what's up?
He is our video engineer, and he makes everything happen. And our buddy Eric Knowles, our comedian, he's on the Unplugged episode, so he's not here today. So we have a full house, and we thank you all for making it happen. First, before we get started, Jay, if you can help me, we want to thank our sponsors, because without the sponsors, we couldn't do the show, and we couldn't be in this cool studio. So we have Dunkin' Coffee. In fact, Mills Dunkin' is in-house, in-studio. Mills, thank you for being here, man, and thank you for helping us bring this show to all of our fans, who, by the way, we've hit iTunes Top 50 on several occasions, so without our sponsors, we couldn't do that. Mills Dunkin' and Dunkin' Coffee. If you love a good cup of coffee, go to dunkincoffee.com, and that's DUNCAN, and it's a full-service coffee and tea, and they have the best teas in the world, and I met the owners of the company out in Sri Lanka. In fact, Mills' son's over there in Sri Lanka right now, right? Or on his way.
No, he just hit the ground today.
Just hit the ground, so that's a long trip. And so
It's a fun trip.
Yeah, so thank you for being in studio. Aceway Incorporated, Aceway, Ricardo, he's an amazing guy. They clean anything that you can imagine, and in fact, it's office buildings or kitchens or hospitality, anywhere. Anything you want to have clean, they can do it. And I know for a fact they do an amazing job because they help us in our kitchens. Texas Beef Council, we love them because they love chefs. Escoffier School of Culinary Arts. If you want to get an online education, they're the place to go. The American Culinary Federation, American ACF, and I've been a member of the ACF for almost 30 years. And I grew up with the American Culinary Federation. They have a lot of great conventions all around the country, great magazines and great websites. So if you're not a member of the American Culinary Federation in our business, then you need to do that right away. So thank you, sponsors, and we have a rare show for you today. And one more piece of housekeeping. If you are listening to our show because you see it on Facebook and you click Facebook and you listen to the show, thank you for doing that. But we need you to go on to iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and search the Recipe Podcast, Celebrity Secrets to a Successful Life, and subscribe, and then all those shows will load into your phone automatically. And same thing with the Recipe Unplugged. So please do that and subscribe to the Recipe Unplugged. There's 2 different shows, and you need to subscribe to that. So with that, we have a full house. We have Johnny Carrabba. Hello, Johnny.
Yeah.
How you doing, Charles?
Yeah, Johnny Carrabba is in the house. We have Dimitri Fetokakis.
Yeah.
Fetokakis, is that all right?
Good job, man.
Yeah? Is that all right?
Fetokakis.
Yeah. How's my take on that? Arturo, Mr. Arturo, thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, Arturo.
And then we have Ziggy from Kenny and Ziggy's. The
All right.
famous, the one and only, huh?
Thank you very
Ziggy.
much.
We have a whole studio full of food, and geez, we have enough food there for I think about 50 to 100 people. What do you think?
But we
Small people.
We don't want anyone to starve.
So listen, I'm so honored to be sitting around this table with you guys, and this is a cool show and put together like within a week. Dimitri, we did our show last week, and we started talking about history and the hospitality business and how people are so amazing in this business. And I love those stories, which came to this show. This is how this show started. So thank you for being a part of that and
Thank you.
and helping us get this all together. So with that, I thought I would start with one thing. I want to go around the table. I know you guys like to talk in general. So 2 minutes or less. I want you to just a quick intro for our listeners out there, and we'll go left or we'll go to you, John. What I would like to hear, I want to get about history and when things started for you and the properties that you have. So just 2 minutes so all our listeners have a quick idea. So Johnny?
Well, I mean, my history started when I flunked out of college, but I've been very fortunate. You know, my grandfather started a grocery store back in 5th Ward here in Houston, Texas, and he, saved a little money, bought some rent property, but then he started another grocery store on Canal and 74th, which is on the east end side of Houston. And he started the restaurant. He started the grocery store in 1955, and that's the year my dad graduated from high school. Well, my dad, graduated from high school. He didn't go to college, and my dad was a pretty bright guy, but he became a butcher for my grandfather. My grandmother was a cashier, and so that's when the family-owned business started. The name of the grocery store is Carrabba's Friendly Grocery, and but then where I got. And I was raised in that grocery store. I mean, we made Italian sausage every morning. My dad butchered, back before there was power saws. I mean, he worked hard. My dad eventually bought the grocery store for my grandparents, and my mother became the cashier. So my dad the butcher, my mother the cashier. Neighborhood, everybody had credit. And they taught me how, through osmosis, even though I was a lazy kid, they taught me, what a neighborhood business is all about and how to make it on pennies. And there's a grocery store. I mean, I know I only have 2 minutes, but there's a grocery store where people would come in and say, give me 4 slices of bologna, 5 slices of pressed ham, and a chunk of hog head cheese. It's that kind of grocery store. And my mother, being the cashier, she had to sell a lot of penny bubble gum and things like that. So they had to make it work. But then I got lucky. When I was going to college, I had an uncle of mine named Tony Mandola. And matter of fact, I was in high school. And my Uncle Tony Mandola was dating a young lady by the name of Phyllis Lorenzo. Her mother happened to be Nympha Lorenzo. And Nympha started a restaurant on Navigation back in my old neighborhood. And they ran that. And then from there, my Uncle Tony split off from them, and he opened up a restaurant called Nino's. And then I had another uncle named Damien Mandola. God bless him, because I wouldn't be sitting here without my parents and my parents and my uncles. And then he started a restaurant in Huntsville, Texas called Damien's, and he opened up a restaurant called D'Amico's in Houston, and then Damien's on Smith Street, as we all know.
Still there?
But yeah, it's still there. And my uncles, they always called me up saying, hey, we need a bartender, we need a waiter. And that's kind of what I did. And then one day, my Uncle Tony Mandola, I was shucking oysters for him and waiting on tables on Tony Mandola's Blue Oyster Bar on Gulf Freeway. And I'm talking fast, I only have 2 minutes, but Italians talk fast anyhow. But by this time, my Uncle Tony came to me and said, Johnny, I just signed a lease on Shepherd near Cadillac Bar. I want you to be the general manager.
Wow.
And I was like a 23-year-old, trying to work my way through college. After 6 years, I'm still pissed off at my parents for cutting me off after 6 years. I don't know what's wrong with having fun. And then I said, I was very flattered. I said, I don't have what it takes. I don't have experience. He goes, I think you have what it takes. I need family there, and I ran it. But then where I really got flattered was Damien Mandola. My uncle. He's only 6 years older than me. He would be driving home from downtown Damien's on Smith Street. He'd be driving down Shepherd, and he would stop off and eat at my restaurant late at night. And that's why us restaurateurs are so kind of hefty and healthy. And we would eat, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. We'd eat a big old seafood platter at Tony Mandola's Oyster Bar on Shepherd. And he came up to me and he said, man, I got a little idea. I went to New York, man. He goes, I think that Houston needs a fast, a fun, casual Italian restaurant. You want to do it with me? And I had mixed emotions, Charles, because the mixed emotions is that I knew I was afraid of family businesses, and the other thing was he was recruiting me from his brother, who was my uncle. But I called him up later on, a couple hours later when he got home, and I made sure he went straight home. Italian boys don't always go straight home. And
No cell phones then.
no cell phone, thank God. I liked it with no cell phone. And I called him up, I said, I'm interested. And so that's really, how I got my start. Me and Damien started Carrabba's together. I was the operating managing partners, named after my last name. Damien, actually, his last name is Mandola. But I learned a lot from my uncles. And that's where I got my big break, But even though you get a break, and we're going to talk about this later, even though some people can give you a break, you gotta make it happen.
Right.
And so that's my little 2-minute segue.
All right, and just for the listeners too, I'm losing track of the properties, but obviously Carrabba's and Mia's and Grace's and Common Bond.
Yeah, but recently I sold Common Bond about 3-4 weeks ago.
And then you open up another Mia's out
in the Woodlands area called Shenandoah.
And what else am I missing?
And then I have 2 under construction, but I have 2 Carrabba's, 2 Mia's, and a restaurant called Grace's, named after my grandmother.
And I heard you're hosting a podcast in the back of your house there. Anyway, we'll get to that one next time.
No, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah. You won't even know we're there. But anyway,
I'm relaxing tonight, man. Don't get me started, Chef.
All right, Arturo, brother.
I need a drink.
Yeah. Okay, we need to get him something.
Okay, so how do I start it? I when I was going to.
You're gonna get married now. Look,
No.
that was the last drops.
Get up on that mic, Arturo. There you go.
He said no. I graduated from high school in Colombia, and I was supposed to go to college, but I didn't do it. I did a whole bunch of different stuff. So my father owned two types of ranches. One cold weather ranch outside of Bogota, which was dairy cattle, and we got a plantation of roses, and we got another one down in the valley, which was almost 3,000-acre ranch with Brahman bulls.
Hey,
So I
Arturo,
was in
I hate
the
to interrupt
cowboy
you. Will you
business.
speak English, man? We need a transfer. Go ahead.
I
I'm
need a
sorry.
drink now.
I'm sorry, you didn't interrupt me. I'm not going to interrupt you.
So,
They might have
so finally
subtitles.
I moved to the States. I came to Houston. I wanted to go up north, but I ended up in Houston because I used to hang glide. I had a couple accidents hang gliding. So my mom sent me here to Houston. My uncle was president for one of those big oil companies here.
So
when
you came to that point I was interested in. You came to Houston because of hang gliding. Is that what you
Not
just
my
said?
choice.
It wasn't
No,
you?
no. I arrived here on a Sunday night. No, not Saturday night. Sunday night I get out and look around and there's no mountains.
Oh, gotcha.
Surrounded by mountains.
Yeah.
So I called my dad, hey, where's the mountains? Go, now you know where you live there.
They don't want you. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So I was supposed to go to University of Houston. I did probably 6 months and I quit. And so I called my dad. I said to him, listen, I'm going to be on my own. He goes, what are you going to do?
What year is this now?
This is 81, 82.
81. Okay, gotcha.
He goes, go to college, man. You got the rest of your life to work. Just go finish something. I go, no, I can't do it. I can't go to a class to people trying to teach me common sense. So he goes, so what are you going to do? I said, don't send me a penny, I'm on my own. Because he was supposed to pay me. So I got a job in a Black Eyed Pea peeling potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
And that way I left as a kitchen manager. Then I got a job at the TGI Fridays on 610, which was the biggest restaurant
He
sales in
said
the whole country.
TGI Fridays, okay? Yeah, I know.
TGI. You know. we used to go
TGI
there.
Friday. No, TGI Friday. TGI
You
Friday.
said Italian, we talk fast. What's the matter with you? So I worked
You're gonna
there,
use
and
cold
then I
sap
left
in a
as
minute.
one of the highest guys in the kitchen. Then I got a job at the Cherry, which used to be the famous heart doctor,
The Becky?
the Becky. So
Yeah.
this restaurant was a fine dining back in the day, Nouvelle cuisine. So you could not use sugar, salt, butter, none of the above. We had to figure out, come up with recipes and ideas to make something taste good.
Right.
Then after that, I did it for a few years, couple years, and then I got a job at Charlie's 517 downtown, which was one of the best known restaurants, and we used to do the pre-theater. It was a great experience. You know, I got there, I was weighing 110 pounds, and I left almost 190 pounds because I got to work with butter again, but it was in '87, so business was not good in Houston. So I moved to Newport Beach, California, and I worked there at 4 seasons. I was the chef of one of the restaurants in the hotel. And then I moved back in 91, and I opened the first restaurant that I had is on Post Oak and San Felipe La Mer,
And what year was that? In
1991.
91. What made you come back to Houston? I should say the
I
question.
love the city. To me,
Okay.
in my book right now, it's still the best city in the United States.
Yeah. Okay.
Call me crazy. But so I was lucky that Joe Mariani came to the restaurant and visited and put me in the spot at the best 10 new restaurant in 1991. Then from there, I opened a place called Cabo, which was insane, crazy place. I introduced fish tacos and tempura tacos and all that kind of crazy stuff. And it was fun. What was the name of the place? Greenbrier in Richmond.
Yeah.
Man, that place was crazy.
That place was insane. And then from that,
That
I
came
opened.
Hopping.
Then I opened Solero in downtown, which was the first tapas restaurant in Houston, a beautiful building, 1880, 1820, right behind the Rice Hotel. And it was another crazy deal. Downtown became like the best place to be in Houston. Insane for 3.5 years, and then they came with the bright idea of the metro. They destroyed everybody's business. 60 business shut down. So after that, I moved and I opened Sabroso in the Village. I had also Century Diner in Texas and Maine, but lost everything, and then opened Beso on Westheimer, and then after that we sold it, and I opened Arturo's Uptown Italiano in Uptown Park. Then I split from my partner, and I've been in my new location, which is of Del Monte, for almost 8 years now, which has my name on it, Arturo Boda Cuisine.
Cool.
And the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, little boy. So we have so much to talk about. But Dimitri, how about just an overview? I know our listeners have a taste of you already.
Yeah, so last week we talked about it, but
Yeah.
my parents started Nico Nico's in 77, and I didn't have shit to do, so I went to work.
Yeah.
That's it. But these guys here are like my mentors and my idols, so
That's awesome.
it's neat to have you guys here with me.
That's why I want to get into that.
And I'm younger than all of them, too.
Yeah, God bless you there. I noticed that too. Yeah.
46.
What do you say?
Holy smokes.
Yeah, he's
I'm
young.
the baby.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
49.
Yeah, good for you. So
Those two don't say nothing.
No, well, that's the geriatric side.
That's what they said on that side.
all right. So any of the
That's the AARP section.
so if you're listening to this podcast and just listening the audio, you'll have to go to the YouTube to get the whole vision of what's going on here. But there's a lot of green grapes being poured around, and Dimitri's being very humble, but go back and listen to that episode. But currently three properties right now that are open right now.
So we have Montrose, which is the original that I took over from the family. Downtown, we did that with the downtown district. And then recently, about 2 years now, going on 3, is our I-10 location right by HCC.
Cool. All right.
So yeah, God bless, man. It's been good.
Yeah, good for you, man. And then we got the famous Ziggy, man. The
I don't know
famous.
famous, but
Yeah.
we're someone that likes to just try to
Unique
make a
for
living.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a character. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I heard that. Yeah. And actually, we were going to have a show a while back, and then the stars didn't quite line up. But what better
Right.
way to start? All
Well,
right, Brian?
you can't get better than
Right,
this.
right.
I mean, this is an all-star lineup over here.
Exactly. So tell us how you got to Houston.
I'm third generation in the delicatessen restaurant business. My grandfather had the first delicatessen on Broadway in 1927. Walter Winchell said that it was in the height of the Depression. It was either going to be the biggest success or the worst sideshow that Broadway ever saw. Thank God it was a big success, and it was frequented by all the celebrities and everything like that. And it grew from there. My grandfather, who was originally from Budapest, Hungary, and his brother-in-laws basically ended up owning about 7 of the most successful delicatessen restaurants in New York. And my whole family was kind of like a deli dynasty, almost like Johnny's family, like the Mandolas, were here in Houston. And from there, when my dad was in it, my uncles were in it, every cousin was in it. I mean, it's the family business.
1927 is what I got here. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah,
1927
That's definitely a
started.
family business.
So when I was about
Crazy, man.
8 years old, my grandfather signaled me to come in a booth with him and said, look, you're old enough, it's time to make a living. He says, look, we're never going to give you any money or a dime, but we're going to give you the opportunity to make money. So here is your schedule. So my schedule is after school, you worked, from 4 on till about 9 in the store. And then on the weekends, I would get up about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I would work from 5 till about 9 o'clock at night. And, my father and my grandfather, would just make me work. And they were smart, because growing up in New York City, which at the time, in the late 60s, early 70s, was pretty dangerous. So they kind of had, babysitters cemented in and 1,000,001 eyes on me to make sure that I wasn't going to get into trouble. So
That's a full-time job right there. But anyway.
So on top of it, I'm working, and then my grandfather said, look, now you can blow your money, or I can teach you to invest it. So he would sit and he would teach me how to invest the money. And when we did that, I would just sock it away and sock it away and sock it away. And when my grandfather got older, and when I was about 15 years old, unfortunately he passed away suddenly, and I took it very, very, very badly. I wasn't a rocket scientist, so I knew I wasn't going into any other job except being in the restaurant business. This is what I was destined for, and this is what I like to do. So I told my mom and I told my dad that me and my cousin were going to start at 16 years old. I wasn't going to go back to school, high school. We were going to start our own business. And my mom, like every Jewish parent, they wanted education. So my mom said, let me take your mind off of things. I'm going to take you to visit your cousins in England. My mother is English. So she took me to visit my cousins, and when I got to know one of them, he informed me he was going to the Cordon Bleu school. He was going to go there and at 15 years old. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go too. So at 15 years old, I decided to see if I could enroll, and the guy asked me, do I have any A levels or O levels? Well,
Tell him you had both, right?
I told him I didn't have any A level. That's like the equivalent.
What is that?
That's the equivalent.
Whatever you got it.
No, that's the equivalent of a high school diploma.
Gotcha.
So I didn't have that. But I said, listen. I said, do you have a discretionary fund over here? I could make a nice donation to your discretionary fund. So the guy said, yeah. So I gave him a little donation to the discretionary fund, and at 15 years old, I turned around to my mom and I said, look, I'm going to start in the fall. So I stayed in England. I rented out a room in somebody's house, and I would get up at 5 in the morning, and the classes went till 10 o'clock at night, and every day I would go in and I would learn how to bake, and I would learn how to do all classic French cooking and everything like that. And then on the weekends I would work in some restaurants and stuff like that and get a lot of experience. And I really did very well. And the Roux Brothers, which was a 3-star Michelin restaurant, Albert and Michel noticed me, and they asked me to come and work for them at Le Gavroche. And I worked at Le Gavroche and the Waterside Inn, and I worked with, Gordon Ramsay when he was, younger. And also, what was it, from La Tante Claire, Pierre Kaufman and, Hester Blumenthal, a lot of people. There were a lot of very famous chefs that came out of that place. And I was a pisher then, I was just a little kid. But we took a break, and I went to visit my dad and my uncle in New York. and we went to the Delicatessen Dealers Association in New York, which was a dealer, an association of all these deli owners. And I went in there and I looked around the room and I saw all these people that were 70, 80 years old. And I said to myself, I said, who's going to perpetuate this cuisine? Who's going to perpetuate our culture? I said, when these people go, all their kids, they pushed them to become doctors, lawyers, and real estate brokers. And I always had a warm feeling of working in the family business with my grandfather, and my grandmother was there, and my uncle was there, and my dad was there. And the customers were, it wasn't just like customers, it was a social club, it was a family. And you don't get that. You don't get that in the higher end business. It's a very cold business. It's a service-oriented business, but it's different. It's not ethnic, and I miss the ethnicity of the whole thing. So I turned around to my uncle and I said, you know what? I'm staying. I'm going to do the delicatessen restaurant thing. So my.
And what year is that? Now it's New York, right?
Yeah, that was in 1986.
Okay.
And my uncle looked at me and said, look, he said, so you want to go in the business? He says, oh, great, because none of his kids wanted to go in the business. I was the last of the Mohegans in my family. So he threw the keys at me, and they had a store that was, it was an okay store, but it was a really underperforming store in Spring Valley, New York, called Crest Hill Kosher Deli. So I went into this store, and the store at that time was only doing $14,000 a week. But after I built it up, I ended up becoming the official kosher caterer at that time of West Point, and I ended up doing what I do in all of my stores, really concentrating on the classic Jewish cuisine, but modernizing it and making it lighter and not so heavy and tasty. We ended up being like one of the third highest grossing Jewish delis and we weren't even in the city. We were doing like 50,000 a week, and that was in the 80s. So here's this young kid. I was like, I was doing good, and naturally,
50,000 a week in the 80s.
In the 80s, that was something. I mean, from 14.
Good
No. We ran a very legitimate operation.
And what year did you end up coming to Houston? No, because I think you went to L.A. and then you
Right.
Hey, I'm Italian. I'm Sicilian, man. You talking about legitimate? Well, you paid all your taxes, you lying piece of shit.
I don't know from that. We just try to take care of everyone and pay our fair share.
Yeah, boy. But you went to L.A. and then to Houston.
So yeah, from there, I saw the neighborhood. I saw the neighborhood starting to change, and my brother, who was very wild, went to go to USC. He ended up becoming a very famous director of movies. But I wanted to keep an eye on him because that's what family members
Is he still there now?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to talk to you after the show.
Yeah, no. So when I did that, I ended up taking over an Italian restaurant that was famous on Sunset Boulevard called Nicky Blair's. And I ended up opening Ziggy G's Delicatessen Restaurant, and we were hailed as the #1 delicatessen restaurant. I was only in my 20s at that time, I think I was 24 at the time. So from there, we did very good, and then I had a dispute with the landlord. Unfortunately, he just didn't want a Jewish deli in his building, and we ended up leaving the space and coming up with an arrangement with him. And other spaces I looked in Los Angeles because everyone wanted me to reopen. I mean, that was a major social club. I decided, you know what, this place isn't for me. So I went back to New York, and I was looking around for a spot in Times Square. And I was trying to work this one deal in the Milford Plaza Hotel, the Celebrity Deli, and that ended up not working out. And then me and the old owner of the Carnegie, a gentleman named Freddie Klein, we were going to open up in Times Square. And that at the time, Rudy just changed everything around, and that wasn't working really well because you thought communism was alive at the rents at that time. So I backed out of the deal, and then I got a phone call. What was it, while we were eating at Sparks Steakhouse, from a gentleman named Lenny Friedman, who had a son named Kenny, and he was very friendly with Freddie Klein, and he said, hey, we got a spot here in Houston, and how would you like to come? And I came, I took a look, and I said, look, I'll take your word that it's a good location. I didn't know Houston. What did I know?
Wow.
And we shook hands.
Wow.
And the rest is history.
What year was that Kenny and Ziggy started?
Kenny and Ziggy, 1999.
I was there first week. I loved it, man. Day one.
1999.
1999.
And you did
And I was 29 years old.
and you did that almost blindly. I mean.
Oh, no, I did it blindly.
And-
I joked around. I said,
Yeah.
look, I did this. I said, what do I know from Houston? He asked me how much money I'm going to
And what did you know from Kenny? I mean.
Oh, I didn't know from Kenny. So I said, look, he wanted me to put money in the deal. I said, look, you know my reputation, because I had a good reputation at that time. I said, look, you put up all the money, and I'll bring the pastrami. And we shook hands.
Got
And
the money, I got the looks. There you go.
like
Yeah.
this. And
Are you
that's it.
Italian too? I mean,
Well, I grew up in a very interesting neighborhood.
Yeah.
I grew up in a Jewish Sicilian neighborhood, and all of my family members did business with Sicilian people, and we were nice business people. We did
Yeah.
lots
Wow,
of
good for
business.
Hey, Ziggy, I hate to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
But Ziggy, did you ever get your high school diploma?
No,
What do you need it for?
I never graduated
Huh?
high school.
No, I felt bad about not finishing college, man.
Me? I don't
No,
care. I know a lot of dumb people that graduated college. Don't you? And I know a lot of smart, wealthy people that do not have a high school diploma.
yeah, good point there.
You
know our kids
we
gonna
already
listen to
have a
this,
PhD in psychology.
Now, before,
PhD in
We
psychology,
deal
that's
with
right.
people every
Haley,
day.
can you help those guys out? They need something to drink over there. So I don't want to disrupt, but if you can pass something over there, that'd be great. Everybody okay here? With,
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Everybody's-
We can run out of skinos.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I should have brought another one.
So this is what I got one simple question before we get too far into it. Like, so who has the best food?
Who has the what?
The best food.
I think they're all great. No, and
they're all-
because
they're
they're all different.
You notice they're all different
That's not a good
cuisines?
question.
Yes.
Yeah.
What kind of question is that?
I was just hoping to get
Well,
under someone's
among us
skin.
in this
yeah,
room, you go.
yeah, I want to get something
Who
going.
has the
here.
best food?
Yeah.
No, everybody has great food.
The only thing I worry about is who sells the most of it. I think, I idolize these guys, I mean, if you hear their story, and how they had their humble beginnings, and we all had humble beginnings, but, I think in every category, everybody at this table,
Paid our dues.
pay their dues, but they have great food. I mean, I look at Arturo over here, and I would give anything to be able to know what he knows about food, and I don't know anything
Yeah.
about Greek food, Dimitri, but you didn't talk very long, but you're very humble, and I admire you for, your expertise, and I've been knowing Ziggy since he moved to Houston, and he paid his dues, man, but I didn't. Maybe I've heard the stories and maybe just forgot, man. But look at the history this
Yeah.
guy has with
Yeah.
food. So, Charles,
I think we all have great food. It's all about, we all have the passion for the job.
Yeah.
We used to work 18, 20 hours a day
Sure.
for many years to get where we are nowadays. So it was a passion and the love for what we're doing. But it's not who had the best food, because
I was just joking.
you
Yeah. I
can
was just-
give us a steak to all of us right now and say, cook it medium rare. We're going to make it cook it medium rare. Who's better than the other one?
Yeah,
Go
no-
medium rare.
Yeah, I was
know.
just joking there, hoping to.
Charles,
to-
I can tell you this. I eat in every single one of these gentlemen's restaurants every single week. No joke.
He does.
On Thursday, when I take my girls, she does speech therapy. We go to Nico's. And it's fantastic, and my girls love it. Arturo I eat there all the time. Best empanadas and that new
Yeah.
ravioli
Yeah,
that
the
you made
empanadas
was
are
fantastic with the smoked salmon and the shrimp. Great.
And the
I eat in
octopus.
his place because I live around the corner from Johnny. I'm probably there about 3 to 4 times a week over there, and I eat every single there. And now that he has the cannolis on the menu all the time, I'm even happier because he does make the best cannolis in the city.
Oh, those frozen cannoli have come a long way. Hey,
Those are not- those are
They
great.
come from Ferrara.
No. I'm telling you. Listen, you all joking aside, let me tell you something. His cannolis,
Yeah,
you know
smoking.
they are They are so thin, and he really whips it up really good. The ragout, oh my God.
We've
That's
done,
very
we've done a
good.
couple gigs together at the club, and every time we do that, I said, he said, what else should I do for dessert? I said, bring the cannolis, man. I said,
Yes.
we're going to do that,
What
right?
about dessert rosa?
Yeah.
And that's my
Yeah.
So listen, guys, this is, we're around the table without doing too much math here. We're talking about 160 years of experience, right? And then that's why I was so much, listen to those stories that were just told here. I mean, they're amazing. That's where my passion comes from, bringing you all together today. I want to talk about Houston, and Dimitri, you're the one that sparked this for me, that when you first got here, your dad, and I'm going to remember now, they took down a rent sign. He saw a place across the street. It used to be a gas station.
Yep.
He took the sign down, and he went to Papa's, and so instead of me trying to remember, I want you to tell that story, and this is where I like this conversation to go. How our industry is so amazing. Hospitality people, and in good times or bad times, hurricanes, you name it. The chefs are the first one to be called. Hey, can you donate? Hey, can you come auction? Can you? And Johnny, I know you auction out things, events for your house 30 times a year. It's amazing, the most amazing thing to have strangers in your house 30 times a year. That's almost the whole year of someone in your house. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Houston history. So Dimitri, why don't you start with that, about your dad taking the sign down and selling vegetables?
Yeah, so we got kicked out of our apartment, and then we found the property across the street. The lady put a for sale sign or rent, and so my father grabbed the sign and said how much. She said $350 a month. So he had to go borrow that money.
Go borrow that. Yeah.
And so he borrowed that, and then he went to the farmer's market, got vegetables, started selling it to the neighbors. And then, it's a cultural thing too. It's not just the restaurant business, but I think it's a cultural thing. They help each other out, But then he went to Pappas. Pappas was doing a lot of restaurant equipment back then. So he went over there and borrowed the equipment. And then he went to Damaris, and Damaris took him to the bank and co-signed for him.
How about that, huh?
And he did,
Old school,
yeah,
man.
Jimmy Damaris.
That's just old school.
Yeah, they didn't even
What
know
great
him, right?
families,
We
though,
didn't even
man.
know him, yeah. And you know what? Even today, like today, I mean, shit, Johnny gets phone calls from me all the time. So does Ziggy. Arturo, whatever.
They don't call me.
Arturo's for fun. We just go out.
No, you can only call Arturo after about 1 o'clock. That's when he
it's
wakes
like-
up.
And he wakes up.
We go
He's right.
for breakfast. We go for breakfast.
You know what? I got to tell you,
You know,
something.
there's a little truth
I
in
want
that
you to,
joke.
hey, Dimitri, I want you to keep your train of thought. I was just talking to Arturo over here, and he goes, man, he goes, I love it when location. I'm only working 20 hours a week. I put 20, it's Monday, and I put in 20 hours today, man.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, he's gonna
You're
figure it
doing
out.
it
He's
wrong.
gonna figure it out,
Oh, he's
yeah.
a smart guy. Go ahead, though, Dimitri. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, they helped. They helped our family, and that's how we got going. But we still do it today. People call us, like you said. I mean, the chefs and the restaurateurs and the businesses are the first people call for auction items and donations and stuff that a lot of people don't even know. Especially we have the Greek church right there. We have a lot of people coming in from Greece that going to MD Anderson and things like that. And it's not just us. Don't get me wrong. The church and the Greek community helps. They help each other out. They really do.
Well, there's two stories that resonate big time with me. Was the Papa saying, "Hey, what equipment do you need? We're going to help you out. And then the person driving you to the bank that didn't even know you
That's
said
right.
cosign.
That's right.
So Arturo, I'm going to call you in a second, but I want you to think about that question of who helped you
You
in
can call
Houston.
me, the phone is off.
No, I want you to think about the question before I'm going to go to Johnny, but I want you to think about who helped you in Houston to get your foothold. But Johnny, I know we've been friends for many, many years, and I know, and I love you to death. But I know that the story of when you first wanted to go to the banks to get the loan. Maybe you could share that to the audience.
Back when Damien came into Tony Mandola's Blue Oyster on Shepherd and told me he had an idea, we started going to banks. And the first bank that I went to, Charles, was a bank that my grandfather did business with, my dad did business with. I knew the banker. His name was Chip Allen. It was at Harrisburg Bank on the east end side of Houston.
What year is this?
1986.
86.
That's when we started. But beginning of 1986, when we started looking for the money, and we went in there. And Damien is the flamboyant spokesperson, and I'm kind of the shy guy. And we go in there and
He's still shy.
Is
you the shy guy?
I'm an introvert, shy person, but Damien's very flamboyant.
Believe me, anyone is shy next to Damien.
Let me ask y'all a question. Who's talking right now? It's my story, my show. No, but I just want to be.
Fast talking Italian guy.
Oh, Arturo, please give me a break. But when I went in there, and Damien's saying, hey man, wood burning pizza oven, open kitchen, sauteing, flames shooting up in the air. The banker said, man, 1986, the oil industry was way down.
Yeah.
And, if you know anything about Houston, I mean, we were built and, we grew on oil. I know the ship channel's nice, and I know that the medical center's really gotten great. But back then, we were a one mill town, means oil. And oil was rock bottom. And then, Charles, to get to the point, banks were going broke. They weren't lending money. And this banker said, Johnny, I've been knowing you since you were born.
Yeah.
He said, I even went to the hospital when you were born to bring your parents a gift.
Wow.
That's when bankers were bankers.
Wow.
Nothing against all my banking friends, but it was real rooted, and he turned me down. And as a young man, I was 27 years old. I said, man, I don't need no, banker telling me what I can do or what I can't do. But the next 8 banks turned me down. And so you're talking about who helped me out. I was running out of banks, but we went to one bank, and Mr. Ralph Minchin led me on. He was a customer of Damien's, and he led me on to a place called Omni Bank. And we went in there, and the people said that we love lending money to native Houstonians and family-owned businesses. And we like what you're going to do, but the only problem was I needed to come up with $100,000 worth of cash. And back then I didn't have 2 nickels in my pocket to rub. I was a young guy, just doing everything, college dropout, just making it, whatever. And my dad helped me, man. My dad co-signed a $100,000 CD for me. So in life, man, we all have breaks. People are always there to help us. Dimitri has the Pappas, the Damaris family. I'm sure Arturo and Ziggy have had breaks here or there, but
Sure.
family's hard to beat. And if it wasn't for my dad, I get emotional talking about it. But if it wasn't for my dad, 32 years ago, and I told y'all this before. My dad had to sell a lot of sliced ham, a lot of sliced bologna. He had to cut a lot of T-bone steaks, that were paper thin, probably back in the neighborhood that he was running his grocery store. My mother had to sell a lot of penny bubble gum to accumulate $100,000. So I think that's what motivated me. But you always need people in your life to give you a break. And I think, Charles, the 4 people you've had here today, we've all had people that influenced our life and carved our way. And so, So I don't know if I'm answering the question, but we all need people to help us. And guess what? They say God helps people that help themselves. And the 4 people you have here today, we're grinding hard, and we don't want to let people down. So community involvement, hey man, if it wasn't for the community, none of us would be here right now. So you have to give back.
Yeah, and then opening day, when you finally did get the loan, and you opening day, you had to call your dad again.
Well, we opened up December 26th of 1986, and we're at Damien's house on Christmas Day, which is the 25th. So y'all do the math. And I sitting next to my dad at the family table. My grandma Mandola, my whole family's there. My Uncle Vincent, Tony, Uncle Damien, all of my mother, dad, cousins, and I'm sitting next to my dad, and I said, Dad, do you have any, it's emotional, man.
Yeah.
But I said, Dad, do you have any cash on you? And my dad is, he's so damn tight. He's Catholic. I mean, my dad still has his first communion money. He saved his first communion money. And I mean, when money hits my dad's pocket, it never sees daylight again. And I'm the completely opposite. That's why I'm still working. But anyhow, but I looked at my dad. I said, Dad, you have any cash? He goes, yeah, boy. But what do you need cash for? And I said, man, we're going to open up tomorrow. And I said, I need to open up the cash. Nowadays, Charles, Chef, nowadays people call it point of sale system. Yeah. If you're Jewish or you're Italian or you're Greek or you're Colombian, we call it cash register.
Right.
And so the cash register, I need to open up the cash register. I need some cash.
There was nothing in there, yeah.
And so my dad goes, I'll give it to you later. My dad rattled off, man. Italians keep their money in their front pocket, rubber band, cash. We don't believe in credit cards and all that checkbook, all the other things. ATM, huh?
Look at
my money in my car.
That's what I was gonna.
But anyhow, so I told my dad, I said, I need to open up the cash register. My dad rattled off $500, and that's exactly how I opened up my business 32 years ago. And my parents own 10% of my business.
Yeah.
And I just hope to God that I've paid them back.
Yeah, God bless you, man.
Because without them, I wouldn't be sitting here with all these great chefs and owners.
Yeah, God bless you there. Well, cheers to that, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's a really great story. So,
Cheers.
Yeah. So Arturo, now,
Now I need a drink.
yeah, you get the the direction I want to go. Because I love these stories, and that's what makes all of you guys great, and that's what I think is special about Houston. Now, hopefully, we have time. I want to talk about Houston because of the dynamic of where Houston is hospitality-wise. But you guys are legends. You guys you're almost like the Rat Pack of hospitality. I mean, of Houston. You know what I mean? I mean, you're survivors, and Houston is blowing up, but you guys are doing it. You guys are true and tried and surviving. So tell us, is there anybody inspired you earlier on, or that reached out and helped you that I mean, compared to what we just
like going back, my mom is Italian, my father is Colombian. So you know what that means, by the way, right?
That's a great combination.
Yes.
I don't know what it
You know
means.
what that means?
No, I don't know.
It means I kill you first, then I cry. So, I told you earlier, I was in the ranch business, so I had numerous accidents, and in one of those accidents, I broke my pelvis. I spent a month in bed, and my father came one day. What's going on with you? I said, I don't want to do this anymore. He goes, what? I don't want to be in the ranch business anymore. He goes, what do you want to do? I goes, well, I want to go into hotel restaurant management business. I go like, uh-oh. Bring the bottle of scotch. He called some of my, so we start drinking scotch, smoking cigarettes. He go like, you're gonna work with the worst animal in the world. I go, what do you mean? I'm getting out of the ranch business. He go, no, human beings. They're a pain in the butt. I go, okay. He's still right the other day, right?
Yeah.
But when I moved here, then I called him and I said, I'm going to be on my own. But my pride didn't allow me to call him when I was going through real tough times, because I was living basically in the ghetto south of Chimney Rock, trying to make it, peeling potatoes like I peel, making $2.25 an hour. And sometimes it was frustrating. Sometimes I used to go like, what am I doing here? I can pack up my stuff, get in a plane, go to Colombia. I got my four-wheel drive, I got my horses, I got the ranches, I got all the luxury. What the hell am I doing here? But then I go like, no, my parents not going to allow me to do it again. So I stay, and I just work where I am. But I always thought my name is gonna be in a wall, in a restaurant, and that's what's gonna happen. So I just work. I got the luck to be executive chef. Got nominated best chefs in 1991, best restaurants in 1997 with Soledo. So that helped me a lot to acquire some fame and name. And I was lucky enough that I was able to travel around the world, cooking Hong Kong, in Thailand, South America, Central America, in Europe. And that gave me a lot of knowledge as well about ingredients, food, cultures, people. So when I moved back to Houston from Newport Beach, I was looking for a job. I'm knocking the doors. I went to different places. They go, no, you're qualified. We're gonna hire. I go, listen, I sign you a contract for a year to be your satay cook. I need a job, man.
Right.
No. You're overqualified. What do you wanna need it to work in your line? I'll be your cook. So it was one of the Italians festival on Lakewood Church, where is that big field right there. When they used to do a good Italian show festival. So I ran into this.
The Italian festival?
Yeah.
That was St. Anne's.
So no, it used to be right there, right next to the Mercedes-Benz on 59. And
Oh, okay.
so I ran into this guy, and I said to him, listen, I heard you open a restaurant, Italian restaurant, or Italian, or whatever restaurant. I go like, yeah, but we got a chef. I go, you don't interview anymore. Well, I got this guy. I go, no. I see you Monday in your restaurant. You give me a chance to cook for you. Give me 2 hours. He goes, okay. So I went to his place, and in 2 hours I produced like 16, 17 dishes. Put in the guy. He sat down with his partners. They go like, you cook all this crap in 2 hours? I go like, yeah. You hired. I go,
Wow.
okay. So we opened. That's when we opened La Mer.
Wow.
That's when I had the first kudos from Squire in 1991. But the rest, it was just, we found some investors for Solero when I did the tapas restaurant concept with my partners. And so we did the whole deal, and I think we paid them. We were very lucky. That place was insanely packed since day one. The line was like a block and a half of people. 1997, nobody was in downtown. Was completely pitch black, nothing going on there. So we were lucky. We pay him back. We pay him with a great profit back and the whole deal. And then from there, I just keep doing my deals on my own. Just basically getting a partner, and so in other words, I put the know-how, and they put the cash, and I'm very lucky that this one that I have is all mine and no partners, and I done it all on my own. But in 97, no, what was 2000? What was it? We started the construction downtown. I lost 2 restaurants. Well, I've been broke.
They killed you on Main Street, man.
Yeah, I didn't have money to
That was
put gas in my car. I had a good friend of mine. I go, listen, I'm broke. I go like, okay, here's 20,000. You pay me whenever you have money.
Wow.
I was lucky this guy helped me out with that sense, so I could still survive and figure out how I'm gonna
All right,
come back.
Quick question for the round the table, and then I'm going to come to you. A quick question around the table. Who is your biggest inspiration, non-family member? Who's your biggest inspiration in Houston? Or let me just say, biggest inspiration for
That's not a good question to
for
answer.
our industry. That it doesn't have to be in Houston. Anybody. Your biggest inspiration.
Who's my biggest inspiration for being in this business?
Yes.
My passion, myself.
Yeah. How about you, Dimitri?
I told you last week.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot of these guys in this room.
Yeah.
His cousin Vincent was.
That's what started this show, by the way.
That's
But
right.
keep on, yeah.
That's right. Johnny and Arturo, Ziggy.
Yeah.
You know, Vincent.
So among these guys, mine too. But
Yeah.
but I
Oh,
feel
you
your
can't change your
experience.
answer. That's my.
That's your line.
Yeah.
And you know, the Pappas family, of course. And,
Yeah, amazing, right? I mean, those are stories that you just can't. How about you, Ziggy, your biggest inspiration in the
You know,
hospitality?
in hospitality, I've had a lot of people, I mean, in Houston, again, the gentlemen that are on here all run fantastic operations. The Pappas, I'm definitely big admirers of. I think they run a fantastic operation. In the delicatessen restaurant business, it would be probably Leo Steiner, who was the original owner that really built up the Carnegie, making the Carnegie what it was, and Abe Liebenwald, who was the gunned-down owner of the Second Avenue Deli. And then if you want to go on in another world, when I was, I respected the Roux brothers, and Paul Bocuse was
talk to you
very
about
good.
that too, yeah.
And all of those people that I met back then, when were it was a very interesting, magical kitchen to learn. So, that's the one thing that's great about life and in business. You can always meet people down the road, and people that you haven't even met yet that really help you. Because not everybody knows everything. I certainly don't, and I can learn something from everybody. And I've been lucky that if you keep your eyes open and you're open-minded, you learn from everybody.
And Johnny?
I have to be real up front. I'm a big family-owned business kind of supporter, I've always been in awe. Every time I've went to go to Arturo, he gives me a great dining experience. Not only is his food great, but his personality, he just is the epitome. And I'm not just saying this because these guys are sitting here, but I really support owner-operated businesses, Dimitri and I are real close. We call each other all the time, and I just love that, he has his mother involved. There's a lot of similarities between Sicilians and Greeks, but, his business is like, he's engaged. Then it comes, and I'm not saying it because these guys are sitting here, I could, Ziggy, Every time I go in there, it's like, man, how does this guy do it? And I admire him for, his hard work. There's a lot of things that Ziggy's been saying today that I forgot about.
Yeah.
I thought he was just a high school dropout, but he has some schooling behind him. And I admire, I naturally, I admire my Uncle Vincent, my Uncle Tony. Those people taught me, my Uncle Damien, man, the smartest Italian food guy in the country. And when I look at these guys, and I wrote down on something on a piece of paper a while ago, Charles, is that, everybody watches the Food Network and everybody wants to get in the restaurant business or the food business. But when you look at us four, or you look at the people that we all just mentioned, there's a deep passion and hard work and dedication. So anybody, the people that I admire, I admire the Pappas family. They've kicked it up to a level that we'll never reach. But the people that I'm sitting around the table, or my uncles, or my cousin Ciro, we're running family-owned businesses. And what I think young people don't, and I know that's not the question, but what people don't really understand is they don't understand that everybody sitting at this table worked at 8 in the morning till 1 in the morning.
Sure.
It's a hard grind, but I admire family-owned businesses, and that's why I admire the guys sitting at this table.
God bless you all for that. Seriously, that's why I love this show, man. I love this show for that.
And this stuff doesn't happen. We've all been somewhat successful. We're all very critical of ourselves, but you don't become successful in this business working a little 9-to-5
Copy
gig.
that. Copy that. And before, I'm going to come back to you on your Houston, but Arturo, I want to give a shout out. I think it's your nephew, right? Is it your nephew that
works with him?
Amazing.
Love that kid.
This guy
is the best.
What's his name?
Camilo.
This guy is amazing. His blood's hospitality, and we were doing that. We did that filming deal last year. Yeah, the kids class act.
He's like Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah.
He's got, but
you know what I like. You know what I like about that kid, man. He even makes Arturo look good.
Yes. Well, he does.
I train him well.
No, seriously.
It's like if you split. There's two personalities. If you split Arturo, Arturo's like the little devil over here, and Camilo's like the little angel over here on this side.
But no joke. He knows his shit.
Yes.
He knows the wine. He knows the service. He knows how to work the table.
I got him from the beginning with, holding his hand, put him in the kitchen. He learned kitchen, then he learned the dining room. Then I encouraged him to get in the wine world. He did the sommelier classes. He passed with flying colors. I took him to Napa Valley. There was another occasion that he was in one of those wine tasting, Italian tastings.
Yeah.
and
Class act.
he learned a little from his uncle to be a little flirt. So he came over with the Italian lady from the winery in Italy, and then he came one day and said to me, "Listen, I got this deal, man. I want the deal." I'm like, "Really? I wonder why." He was like, "Well, just to go there for 3 days and come back." I go like, I look at him, "No, you're not going. You're not going to Italy for 3 days." So he dropped his jaw like, "Oh, well, really?"
Go for
I go,
2
"No.
weeks.
No, you go for 2 weeks. You go there for 2 weeks, you go do the
Right?
deal,
Yeah.
then you get in the car, then you go
Good for
to this
you.
place, that place, and you come back in 2
Good for
weeks. I
you.
don't want to see you go there for 3 days. So,
Good for you.
So slowly, and he's been doing that, and he's pretty good at what he's doing. He's got a great wine list, and he's good what he's doing. And
He's
he loves,
class act,
and he,
yeah.
and he has the same passion that I have. He loves what he's doing,
Yeah.
which is the most important thing in life.
Yeah.
You do what you love to do. If you don't love it,
Yeah.
And he's going to be a father.
Yeah.
So
that's how you go.
All right, so Ziggy, back at you now. When you came to Houston blindly.
Yes.
All right. So you met up with this guy named Kenny that someone said.
Well,
hey,
I met with his father first.
Okay.
Lenny Friedman.
Okay.
Who was a real estate developer, and he had a son named Kenny, and Kenny wanted to go in the restaurant
And
business.
he's here in Houston.
Who, Lenny? Yes,
yeah,
Lenny
okay.
lives here in Houston. And Kenny, Kenny wanted to go in the restaurant business, and Lenny decided to back him, but Lenny is a kid from the Bronx. So being from the Bronx, he wanted a Jewish deli, and he said, "I'll back you, but it's got to be a Jewish deli." So he talked to Freddie Klein, and they talked me into coming down because I said to Freddie, I go, "Houston, Texas." I said, "Are they going to know what my food?" Because I cook very traditional. I said, "I'm not going to water it down." I said, he says, "Believe me, they're going to love you." He says, "Sometimes before a Broadway show goes to Broadway, you got to go on the road." That's how they talked me into it. So when I came down here, I was mesmerized with the city, and Lenny was very, very nice. And the one thing, I've lived in London, I've lived up in Liverpool, I've lived in Los Angeles, and I've lived in New York. But the community here is fantastic. And the Jewish community here is unbelievable. Like everybody here, just like the Greek community, everyone knows everybody. Everybody's related. It's like Deliverance for Jews down here. so you know, it's like and they're all like, you know, they all know each other. But what's great about it is the Jewish community, everyone's like, "Oh, this is what you want to do? We're going to surround you, and we're going to figure out how we're going to make you successful." And
Well, my only problem about your restaurant is I can't get in it. It's packed all the time. Yeah.
You gotta be early.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, it's hard to get in there.
Well, all the proceeds of my restaurant go to a Jewish children's home. My children. So thank God it beats the alternative, right? I don't think I'd be sitting on this table.
So getting back to now, Dimitri.
Yes.
When we met last week, and you were talking about, we were talking about the same conversation almost, and you mentioned calling these guys, for whatever. So tell us about that, about calling Johnny Carrabba. Hey, I'm stumbling on this one thing, or tell us about that camaraderie and being able to pick up the phone. And
Well, we originally were going to do it for like some Christmas lights bus or something, but
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I remember that.
so the lady called me up, said, "Hey, you want to do like this Christmas lights tour on a bus?" I was like, "I'll only do it if Ziggy and Arturo come in." And they didn't do it, so. You're
Oh yeah,
special,
that was
man.
Lauren from that radio. Yeah.
Dimitri knew better than call me.
I did call you, you said no. I remember that, yeah. I said, "Hey, you want to do it?" "Nope." "Okay." No, I'm just kidding. And anyways, I mean, that's, what a special show, to have all these guys on.
yeah, I mean, this is legendary, really. I mean, this is super cool. We're gonna have to do it again because there's too much to go over. But I think, Jay, I think you have a couple pictures. I'm not sure, just put you on the spot here. And we dug up, I should have, look at who's that guy?
My goodness.
Who's
That's when I was a when I was a
free
porn
apron
star.
right there.
Look at that.
That's a good looking mustache right
Super
there.
Mario Brothers over there.
Yeah, man.
So Johnny, just to talk about that a little bit,
You look like Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah.
I look like Benny
That's
Boom
it.
Bot.
Sweet mustache.
no, but just
you
for
look
the
like a Goombas right there.
Yeah.
Christian, is there another one there for
I got it
Arturo?
right
There
here.
you go. So Jay, can you go back to that picture?
I got
wanna talk about that
I
for
got a
second.
picture of you, me and Damien. We did many years ago. We all were probably 100 pounds
I
a piece
remember
each
it.
one. Remember
Yeah.
that picture with this lady, the diet deal?
Yeah,
I gotta
remember
look
it.
for it.
Yeah.
I remember the first time when I came down here.
But you know, like, go ahead, Ziggy. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
no,
man.
Kenny was driving me around, and we pulled up right next to you, and you and Damien were in a little bug.
Yeah, Damien
And I
had
was
a
like,
yeah.
like a little Vito. I'm like, man,
Yeah,
that's
it
got to be uncomfortable.
There was it was just me and Damien, and there was like 550 pounds of love. It looked like that. It looked like that bug should have been riding us. You know, we were riding in the car. It should have been riding us, but. No, but like in that picture right there that you showed, man, the original Carrabba's was 3,000 square feet. The people, the family that owned Imperial Sugar, you know, that started Imperial Sugar were good customers of mine, and that's why I wore that apron. But that's going back 32 years ago, man.
No, but just for the listeners too, that if the podcast listeners who don't see the audio, so if you want to, I mean, if you're a podcast listener, you have to go to YouTube. Okay, go to the Recipe Podcast on YouTube, so you can see all these crazy guys, and see Johnny's picture. But John, just for some history there, from porn to pasta, right? That's a real thing.
Yeah, I mean the original,
serious.
the original
You guys know
Carrabba.
that. You know that, right?
The
Do you know the story?
original.
No,
All right, here you
No,
go.
the original Carrabba's, you know, when we first bought it,
Right.
you know, that 10th bank that we went to, and they gave us some money, that was a pornographic newsstand. And matter of fact, that's when I first met Arturo, because he used to come into the peep shows. Arturo came into the peep shows.
He was the
and
number one
It
customer.
said for a good time, it said call Arturo Boda, and I said, you know what? I've been looking for a good time, so I called Arturo, and he almost became my original chef.
Right, yeah, he was a partner right away around the bat.
Yeah, but a lot of history has gone down, though,
Yeah,
Charles. But,
yeah. Yeah, cool stuff. What else, Jay? What else you got up there? There's Arturo and his deal, right? In the window.
That's back when he worked more than 20 hours a week.
You know,
Lazy bastard.
You know, it's funny. Ely says, he says, you know how they have like the hardest working man in show business? He says, Arturo's figured it out. Arturo works, he says, 3 hours a day. He says he comes in, he makes a cameo appearance, and he leaves. He goes, I don't know how he does it and still makes a living, but it's the best.
No, he's got. I don't believe that, but I think he's got it figured out. God bless him
Yeah.
for that. What's the next one you got, Jay? Look at this guy right here, huh?
That's me. That's me about 10.
Tell us about that.
You know, like I said, my grandfather always joked around. He said, you have to learn everything, because he says, unfortunately, your uncle and your dad, they don't know the kitchen like I do. And when I die, you won't know anything. So you need to learn everything.
That's
So
where the money
he
is
forced
made,
me.
I mean, that hat's bigger than your whole upper body.
Oh,
I mean-
yeah.
So before we go to the next picture, tell us about, because I'm interested in the Rue brothers, because Albert put a place up in Conroe.
Yes.
And did you meet him or
Yeah,
talk to
no,
him about-
Albert came into the store.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was it? Yeah, he came into the store.
That was a great freaking restaurant. Did you know about that, Johnny?
You went to our restaurant. What happened to
No,
us?
no, no. He came in and he says, I said, Albert, I said, why did you pick that? He says, it's a licensing agreement.
sure,
He says,
yeah.
he said they licensed. I said, you know, if you would have had that down here, you'd be not.
Jesus Christ.
But he was.
Really?
He
Did you
was-
go?
No.
Johnny, did you go?
What
to
was
this
it
place?
called?
It was
It was in Walden. It was just shy
Right,
of
it was in
Walden.
the- I'm not late.
I knew about it. But I
So
didn't go.
what is it? Is it still there or not?
No.
No, they closed it down after a year. Christian, did you go to it?
What was it called?
Rue. I think it was
Bruce
called
Brothers.
Rue.
R-O-U-X.
Yeah, it's called
Yeah,
Rue.
Bruce
Yeah.
Brothers.
Oh my God, I went twice. My wife was over there saying my wife. So we went to it because we had a place over there at the time. And what's the name of that resort?
You had a place where?
What's the name of that resort, honey? Do you remember? Name of that resort? Anyway, it's that.
Yeah.
In Conroe?
Yeah, it's on
Trattoria?
Walden Road. But anyway, here is, I mean, a Michelin Guide restaurant in not just Conroe, but in Walden, which is far out there.
Right.
Did you ever go to the restaurant?
I did. I went a couple of times.
Jesus Christ, it was so
And
good.
it was excellent food. But you know, it's like what Conrad Hilton used to say, location, location, location. It was just a bad
What's the
location.
name of that place? They sunk a ton of money into it. I'll think about it in a minute.
Ziggy, where was your first location? Where you are now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've been there for 20 years.
La Toretta, yeah, La Toretta. You know the La Toretta in Conroe? You guys know? Anyway, that was where
It's too far away, man.
they sunk a.
My
Come
mom
on, man! It's
eating
45
like-
minutes.
Have
Arturo.
you actually ever eaten at Le Gavroche?
No.
When Le Gavroche, remember when Le Gavroche was in the 80s, it was the only 3-star Michelin in Britain. And the reality is all of those chefs that are big in Britain today come from that restaurant, come from that kitchen. And everyone was working at the same time in that kitchen because it was only a 60-seat restaurant and there were 60 chefs in the kitchen. It was ridiculous.
Jesus. No. But
That's when I was
one of his sons had a place in New York as well, because I used to send interns there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I used to send externs to his restaurant as well. So, I mean, you're right. He should have had that restaurant here.
Oh,
Yeah.
listen, I mean, we've had, how many restaurants have we seen that have come into the
Yeah.
market that have been excellent,
Yeah.
but they were in the wrong locations?
Yeah.
And how many restaurants have been mediocre that are in great locations
Yeah.
that do phenomenal?
Right.
It happens.
Can you put them in timeout? Or?
Yeah.
Now, you know what though, Charles, I know you have an agenda, I know you have time.
I have no agenda. I have nowhere
We're gonna
to be
mess it all
until-
up.
No, but I gotta let you know something, man.
Yeah.
Sitting at this table, with you and these guys right here.
Yeah.
These guys are operators, and I'm just sitting here just like in awe, because these people put in their time.
Yeah, sure.
They work their butt off. They're still working every day very hard,
Yeah.
except for our tour. But I know myself, man. Dimitri and Ziggy. Arturo's over here showing me pictures of when he was a porn star. But I mean, we're still grinding, man. That's what this business is all about. This is who I admire. This is who I admire in this business, man. It's guys like this that keep grinding. And I admire Arturo.
Hey, so you guys were talking about chefs coming out of this one restaurant, in London.
Yeah.
So do you guys feel that there's a restaurant here in Houston that's like that? Like a lot of chefs came out of?
Oh, good question. Johnny, you hear that?
No, I didn't hear. I'm over here talking to Arturo.
Dimitri is just talking about. So we were talking about the Roux Brothers restaurant in London. Everybody coming out of that, the who's who. What about Houston's breeding ground for amazing chefs?
Like a restaurant or a restaurant owner that.
I'll be honest
Great
with you,
chef.
man. This is not. Yeah, I have to be
It's a
real.
great, great question.
No, I have to be real up front with y'all.
Please.
I'm always going to be up front. I wrote Tony Vallone a letter about 10
There you
years
go.
ago. And
You got
I don't
it.
know, there's something about the done job between my family and his family. I don't know, I don't really understand the whole deal, but I wrote him a letter about 10 years ago and I said, Tony, I said, I got to thank you and I want to let you know I admire you because you were doing the real restaurant business before it was even cool in Houston. And it came from my heart because he was unbelievable. And then I look at these guys are too young, but I look at the people that owned Capan's years ago, Stables Restaurant. I admire the Pappas family. They kicked it up a notch. Pappas family are in a different league. I mean, they're more of a big business. I admire these guys just as much or more because they're running family-owned businesses, and I love the Pappas family. But then I have to look at, just Ninfa Lorenzo, man. You're talking about a Mexican-American woman whose husband had died, opens up a restaurant, man, on Navigation with 12 seats. I mean, people don't understand her history, man, but she's the one that really
No, the
brought.
recipe before she was pushing a cart in
They
the.
were making tortillas. Papa.
Yeah.
They were making tortillas, but then she knew she couldn't make it on tortillas, called Rio Grande Tortilla Company. But then she starts a restaurant on Navigation, man. And the one thing I admired about her is that, I mean, y'all don't know this, man, but she's the one that really brought tacos al carbone, which is fajitas, to the United States. Think about the revolution. I mean,
Oh, no, it was excellent. That was one of the first restaurants I ate in
well,
when I came here.
I mean, you have to understand this too. I mean, this is a widowed woman, 5 kids, Mexican American, and then she introduced George H. Bush at the National Republican Convention here in Houston.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's history, man.
Yeah.
And
true history.
and without her, you know, I tell people all the time, I wouldn't be in business because she gave my uncle, who was dating her daughter, a break. And then from there, Vincent and Tony got in business, and then Damien got in business, and then I got in business. So the one thing that that we all understand is that there's somebody in our past that controlled our fate and our history, you know, and got us to where we're at. And I admire those people, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Tony Valone,
Yeah.
Yep.
Chef Carroll, he was doing stuff like you way before you were
Sure,
even
copy
around.
that.
And,
Sure, sure.
I mean, you know, he was fine dining way before it was
Sure,
cool.
sure,
and
sure.
I
More
admire those
constant.
kind of
I
people.
think
man.
Anthony's restaurant, when I first came down here, that was one of the first restaurants, as well as Nympha's, that Lenny took me to. And I went there. I thought Anthony's was first class. You know, that's where the Smith and Wollensky, I mean, everything was magical about that restaurant. Also, you know, another restaurant I think that also has developed a lot of chefs in town is the Brennan family. I think Brennan's,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, but there is one unsung hero. There is a chef called Jose over there that has taught every single big chef in town here in Brennan's.
And Brennan's?
But he doesn't look the part as the chef, and they never put him in the forelight.
I think we've
But
heard this story.
This is
Christian,
oh
have you
no,
heard
it's he trained
I think I've
Mark
heard this story
Howley.
before, yeah.
He trained the guy from Haven.
Chris
what's his-
Shepherd.
Chris Shepherd. All of them.
He taught all those
Jose,
guys,
He
man.
taught all of
you
these
know,
guys. And let me tell you,
Ziggy-
this guy cooks unbelievable.
Ziggy, not to interrupt.
Yeah,
That's what you should have.
I'm
heard that story.
gonna
Christian,
let
right?
you, I'm gonna
Yeah.
let y'all know something.
yeah.
Is my uncle Damien, who was the mastermind, the visionary to Carrabba's, right? When he had Damien's, and Damien's is still a great restaurant, I would put Damien's restaurant on Smith Street, I would put it up against any Italian restaurant in New York. He was a visionary, you know what I mean? But so you have to look at those people
Right.
who paved the way for all of us young little punks. Even though I'm 60, I'm still a young punk. But there's a lot of great restaurateurs here in Houston.
Right.
Well,
I mean,
some
it-
famous, some classic restaurants they got that upsets me a little bit too, where they're almost forgotten nowadays.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's talking about the new stuff that's coming up, but you talking about like Vincent. I mean, what great restaurants he has. Vincent Mandola's.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Vincent's and Nino's.
My Uncle Vincent,
yeah, he's in there
Dimitri,
every day.
he's what do
I
you
see
mean?
him
He's
every
there
day.
8 days a week,
I know. I
right?
see him every
You know
day.
what I mean?
I
He's
see
there
him every
working,
day.
man, grinding,
I know,
and that's
man.
why he's made it.
And you see all these bloggers and these critics and all this stuff. They write about the new and the upcoming stuff, but man, they forget like some
Yeah.
of those classic
We're
restaurants.
becoming dinosaurs right now.
Well,
No, not
let's
really.
talk about
I
just
think
briefly
I
because
think we
we're up
got it.
against it. We're getting pretty close to. I mean, we can go all night. We'll do another show if you guys are up to
What
it.
about what about Tony's closing 2 of his restaurants, like Valone? I mean, that hit the
It happens
news.
to
That hit the
the
news
best of
wire.
us.
It's not only Tony's, it's
No, but-
everybody's.
But Christian,
There's a lot too many restaurants here.
I
so
have
too much-
I have an opinion about that. 'Cause I talk about it all the time. It's like anything else. I mean, if you were selling sewing machines, you go broke. If you're selling cameras, you're going broke. I mean, because everything has changed. Evolution is always, you have to keep up with evolution.
Right.
And that's the one thing that I really work really hard on in my company is that I want to protect culture, and I want to make sure that I'm always evolving. Like 20% of my business is car side carryout, to go business, right?
You guys were
20%.
probably one of the first to do that.
Well, I mean, you brought your whole staff in, Dimitri,
I know,
to
to
talk
learn
about
from you,
car side
yeah.
carryout, but 20%. So the golden age of the restaurant business, as us guys know it in this room, it's over with. I mean, and you get to
agree.
stay evolving.
in
You have
the
to look
world.
at somebody like Tony Vallone, and I think we need to give people like that a break.
Yeah.
But Tony's probably been in business for, I'm gonna say 60 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long
Yes.
time in this industry.
Yeah, but
And so him closing two locations, Christian, that happens.
Yeah.
But
well, no, I was saying it more along the lines of that should have been something else. Like everybody should have been behind supporting what he was going to focus all his time into, which is Tony's now. So I feel like that article deserved to have included in there. Hey, come on, let's rally behind this guy. This guy's the original restaurateur.
you have to look at all the great chefs that came from Tony.
Right.
Mark Cox, DeMarco,
Right.
DeMarco's, Marco
Olivier,
Wall.
Olivier
Yeah.
over there too.
Olivier, he's produced.
Ficaris.
Not to say that he's produced them, but he's had a lot of great chefs that's came through his deal. And hey, I've already said it. Is Tony Vallone? Me and Tony Vallone gonna go play golf tomorrow?
Yeah.
Probably not. But I have to give credit where credit's due. That guy was doing it before it was cool.
Yeah,
And
and at a high level. Because Tony's is still one of the best. It's the best service.
at a high level,
Yeah.
he was at the highest level for a long time, and so.
Yep.
But what he's saying earlier, that business is we're losing that world. The restaurant business, we're losing it. The new millenniums and all that, they only do order to go, deliver the house. They don't want to go
I think
out.
it'll change though. I think as
but
they
our-
make,
it's a
people
different
making
world
money,
now.
they'll go
But
back.
But you talk about service, you're right. Malone's, if Damien's, definitely, and Brennan's are three of the old school where they still get the Garadon out.
Yeah.
Look,
Tableside.
Tableside, making your Caesar at you.
Siggy,
doing all
explain
kinds
what
of
is a
stuff.
Garadon, because nobody knows what is that.
Garadon is the cart that they bring to you
Tell 'em.
with the flames so they can nicely cook like crepe Suzette or cherries Jubilee or any kind of stuff.
That's
over
what's
at your
special
table.
about this table, though.
That is vanishing. It's not happening
I
anymore.
wish people on the air could see my face right now. What do you know about all that, man?
He went to Europe. He studied in Europe. This
Sonny,
guy.
you wanna
I'm looking
get
forward to
it
it.
done? I got an extra one in my house. You want it?
Here Ziggy's over here. He sort of,
Hey, Arturo gave me a Garadon. We did that. You remember that? I had Michael English over there. What was it? Making
But again, I know what you're talking about. Like Damien on Smith Street, he was doing spaghetti carbonara. He was
At the
doing
table.
fettuccine Alfredo, which is no big
Yeah.
deal for y'all. Got your real chefs.
And the
He was doing
cheese wheel
Caesar
and the-
salad
and
by
the-
scratch.
And the cheese.
all at the
You know what I mean?
table.
Right at the table side, man. Those are real restaurateurs, man.
All right, so I want to touch on two things. I want to touch on why you guys are still around the table, because that's special. Okay, I mean that's and Houston. God bless Houston. I mean it's, we used to say it's a best kept secret, in the country, because we have all these amazing food opportunities, but now everybody knows about it, right? So. But these places are opening and closing. I want to talk about that a little bit. But there's one thing you mentioned, culture, and you mentioned culture, and I want to talk about culture. Just real quickly, Johnny, one of our dear friends, Chef John Foltz, right? An amazing guy, a special guy, and here's a guy who's a legend in New Orleans, and he is.
She's a legend more in New Orleans.
Yeah, right. You're right. And he's doing things to preserve the history. He's a historian, and if he didn't do some of the things he was doing, no one would care, or no one would probably notice. But I asked him one day. I said, John, why are you doing this? Why are you preserving this jam making facility that's all copper pots and it's in the middle of the woods and the swamps in New Orleans? Why do you give a shit about any of that? It's just like it's costing you thousands and thousands of dollars to preserve it and put it on his plantation. And his answer was, Charles, if I don't do it, who will? And you mentioned culture, and Johnny, you mentioned culture, and it's passionate to me. And Johnny, I know that you spend a lot of time investing in your employees and making them part of the culture. So I'm opening up the table, but Johnny, do you want to speak at culture a little bit?
I mean, if somebody wanted to ask me, Johnny, what's your number one threat? For a long time, I've been saying the loss of culture. If I lose my culture, if I lose the eye of the tiger, I'm done. But recently I've been saying, my number one threat is me losing my job. And so I don't know if this is going to make any sense. I know it's going to make some sense that the people that are sitting at this table with me. But, I've had 32 good years. Yeah. Some people say great years. I don't look at it, but I always look at things as like, the original Carrabbas, and we can talk about the history of Carrabba's and where it ended up and what it's doing and all that. But the even though the original Carrabba's is 32 years old, and I've told you about the 9 banks that turned me down, the 10th bank gave me the money, my dad co-signed a $100,000 CD. I can talk about it all day long. But in my eyes, I'm still wondering, and these guys know exactly, and you know what I'm talking about, I'm still wondering if it's going to make it.
I know.
Oh, shit.
That's the threat that I have.
I agree.
And so the loss of me losing my job, I mean, y'all don't. I mean, these guys understand. The audience doesn't understand. I've been grinding since 7:30 this morning, working on things like you wouldn't believe that I'm working on. Tasting food. I mean, I'm looking at my belly right now, but so the Arturo, I might have slapped you.
I know he's gonna beat me out in the parking lot. I'll be gone before then.
You're gonna be. My Sicilian brother is gonna be meeting me downstairs. But again, culture. You have to keep the eye of the tiger, but the loss of culture is my biggest threat. You have to stay hungry. I mean, I know these people that I'm sitting with know it, but out in the community, I mean, it's like some people might think that Chris Pappas and all the Pappas boys, they have it figured out. They're going to think that Ziggy has it. Dimitri, Arturo, he's already figured out. He's only working 20 hours a week. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at my good buddy Mills Duncan over here, and right here sitting next to me. I mean,
talking about history.
I mean, that guy talking about history. I mean, his grandfather started Duncan's Coffee, and he's over here with our little happy asses, and he's still grinding. And so my point is that we're always trying to hold on to culture. Yeah. Because as soon as you think, like, as the heavyweight champion of the world, right? I know it sounds kind of goofy. No, I'm giving an orientation in 2 weeks with all my new employees and some of my old employees. But as soon as you think you're the heavyweight champion of the world, there's a young kid that wants to knock you out. Yeah. And you can't lose that eye of the tiger. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, Jeff.
You are. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dimitri, speaking of that real quick, and then we're gonna come back to you. We're gonna wrap this up real quick. We'll talk about culture a little bit, because your family back in 1977. So talk about that a little bit, about preserving the culture and where your family's come from. And
I mean, like he does Italian, he does Jewish, we do Greek. We go every year to Greece, and I always try to bring stuff back, and I try to see what they're doing, even little things like the coffee they're drinking, and the cigarette smoke, and all that stuff. So we're always trying to bring stuff to be authentic back. The salt, the olive oil, the olives, everything, the fish. We try to keep that. But also, like this morning, and it happens every single day. I sit at that booth in Montrose after I drop off my kids. We have some coffee, we have whatever. If I'm not at Ziggy's for breakfast, but I sit at Nico Nico's, and customers come in, and that's where I sit and talk to everyone. And that's part of our. Didn't he say put it on silent?
Arturo, you can't.
No, he's on Tinder or something.
But that's.
Oh shit!
Remember, I'm driving, right?
Go left, baby. Go left.
So, at Nico Nico's, I remember watching my parents and even the guys that worked there, like some of the first employees, they would always sit down and smoke a cigarette at that one booth. And that's what we do today. You know, we just sit at that booth and we just talk to guests that come in, and we talk to people and get to know them. I had two people come in the other day, and they were arguing, like the mom and it was a mother and daughter, older, you know, and they were just sitting there arguing and bickering at each other and blah blah blah. So we walk up to them, we start talking to them. Well, she goes, "Well, I'm looking for a church. I need to get some holy water."
Oh, wow.
You know,
Holy water?
Holy water. She wanted to get holy water from the
I
church.
need some of that too, Dimitri.
Yeah. So listen to this though. So I called Father Michael. I'm like, Father Michael, you got any holy water? He goes, no, you know, I'm not even here. Blah blah blah. I said, okay, never mind. And then I said, you know, I think I got some in the office. So this lady was looking for a church. You know, so we had holy water. You know, and she loved it. She was just. You know, those are the kind of stories that we have at
Bro, you had some in your office?
we had some holy water in the office. Yeah, 'cause they give it to you in a little bottle.
Oh, shit.
Dimitri, that's what a family-owned
It's amazing.
neighborhood
Man.
restaurant
It's amazing.
does.
I mean, today we had somebody come in. She was from Montreal. That's where my father jumped ship. You know, she was talking to Costa, our catering director. You know, you talk about, I mean, success. That's a guy that has success because he has a lot of passion. You know, and everybody knows Costa here.
Yeah.
We love him.
But you know,
Phenomenal
that's
guy.
you know, people say, "What's the secret?" It's just about the passion and the love that you have. You know, and he started talking to her about this little island called Hydra. You know, it's off of Athens, and then he was talking about Leonard Cohen. You know, because Leonard Cohen loved Hydra, and then she just like her eyes. Oh, I love Leonard Cohen, and they had this big conversation about Leonard Cohen. You know, and she was just visiting. Two Canadians walked in. They were just walking by. They were just so their son just moved here to Houston, so they were just bringing him in to move. They stopped in. You know. This was all like in 30 minutes. So you can sit there at Nico's all day long and just talk to different people. You know,
Well,
that's
you
the
got-
culture
you gotta-
of our restaurant.
Your clientele comes from
all
wearing
about
tuxedos to
hospitality.
being in flip-flops. You got all kind of people. It's a
Everybody.
fantastic.
So, you know, restaurateurs have to have a couple of things. One, they got to love people.
Right. Yeah, copy
You
that.
know, they just have to have passion in what they do. And I think they'll succeed, you know.
You know, Charles, I mean, there's an art to this business. I tell my people all the time, there's an art. You know, so what Dimitri's talking about is him sitting in that booth, listening to, you know, whatever he's talking about, holy water and all that stuff. I mean,
You got holy water in your cooler,
no,
Johnny?
No, Arturo needs to take a shower. Arturo needs to take a shower. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's going to help out, but I mean, it's like, that's what personal businesses are. I mean,
It is,
there's
man.
an art to what these guys do.
Yeah, copy that. Yeah.
Huh?
That lady
It's
just
like
said,
I
I went
said-
to a restaurant, they had holy water.
Like I said earlier to Johnny, Charles, we all have a PhD in psychology already. We have to go to school for that one.
Yeah, you're right.
You
We've
have
been
to,
dealing with-
especially dealing with between
I don't know
customers
how many
and staff.
hundreds or thousands of people we're dealing for all these years.
Yeah.
And you know, they walk in the door, they're upset. Wah, 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 wah. What's your problem? Somebody
your
scratched my car. What's wrong with your car? It's a BMW, brand new. So I start touching. You okay? Well, back in the day where you can touch. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. No bones broken. Nothing. So what's your problem? The car. You got insurance for your car. Don't worry about it. They're gonna paint it. Let me have a glass of wine for you. Oh, okay. Now that you cannot touch, you cannot say hi, beautiful, because they'll sue you, sexual harassment, whatever. But
Well,
that's what you have to deal with every day.
Well, listen, guys. We could go in 2 hours, but we're up against it. We're actually. This is the first time for us having an evening event, having.
Make it the last.
Breaking bread with friends and having wine. And Christian, thank you for bringing the wine in, and it's been amazing. We could. Let me ask you this one question before we. Will you guys agree to do this again sometime down the road? We'll do this again. Would you again? So
If the price is right.
I want to get it on. I want to get it on the air. Just say because this has been a blast and it's really. But before we go, where can everybody find? Because I want to tell everybody where they can find you on social media or websites or anything you guys want to say. Ziggy?
Sure, they can see me. I have a Ziggy Gruber on Facebook. I also have Kenny and Ziggy's on Facebook, and I have both on
I don't
Instagram.
even know.
Okay, cool. Dimitri?
NicoNicos.com, and you can find us there.
Sure.
online ordering and all
Arturo?
that stuff.
Arturo online, you didn't bring your assistant with you?
Tinder, he's on Tinder.
Yeah, Tinder.
What's your handle?
Hey, call my nephew Camilo.
Bob,
Arturo Boda, cocina.com.
it's a website, right, Bob?
Was it?
Yeah, it's
Harmony?
it's Arturo's restaurant in Houston. It's amazing. We're there the other night.
Cocina.com again. I don't know.
Johnny, you're doing all kinds of stuff. I see some stuff with your mom and dad on social media. That's really super cool.
No speak English. No, I really don't know anything about. I'm being upfront with everybody. I wouldn't know. I don't have a Facebook page. I don't have social media.
No, but your company does because we see it.
Listen to me. If you need to get a hold of me, I'll give you my cell phone
All right,
number.
what's your number
Yeah,
again?
no, I'm not giving my cell phone number. But my email, if y'all need to get a hold of me, is Carrabba, Carrabba @gmail.com. That's the way I am. But I mean, call me up, email me. I'll call you. But I mean, I don't get into all that. I mean, I know that
Yeah, sure.
Charles.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
Do
Don't worry.
social media, all this stuff. I don't really know about
I'm
all
just trying to
that.
help you guys. I'm just
I
trying to
know,
help you
I know
guys.
that, I know that,
I
Charles,
appreciate
but I
your
mean,
time to
but-
be
huh?
here. I just appreciate y'all being here.
I'm just
And,
letting you call me, man. And if
yeah.
you need,
Call,
you
don't
need a
text.
side order of
I'll
meatballs,
let
Leave
you
him alone.
know, nephew. Don't text me. Just you want to talk to me, talk to
Call
me.
me.
No, but we Johnny, we've done how many gigs together? I mean, lots, many. Probably probably about 10 too many. You're going to say, but you're not going to say it. Johnny,
No, but you know what though, Charles? I know you're running out of time. You've been really good to me,
oh gosh,
and I
Johnny.
admire you. And if we did 20 together, I'm going to do about 200 more
I
because
love
you've
you,
been
man.
good to me.
I love you, man. I just well, cheers to all you guys. Really, you're
Cheers.
special. Thank you. I know you're all busy in hell,
cheers, brother.
and thanks for coming in. And this is what the show's all about. And
Arturo, wake up.
it's really
You gotta give me some wine, Malaca.
it's really cool stuff.
So,
So,
Arturo, get off your phone. Tinder's
Get off the
closed.
phone. Get off the Tinder, chingadera.
but guys, I also want you to recognize.
Eh?
Here, Arturo. Yeah. Cheers here. Thanks, buddy. It's also special because this is the first time for a lot of different things tonight, but it's the first time we've ever had a sponsor in studio. So Mills Duncan, thank you, man, for taking time.
Thank you, Mills.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't pull the sponsorship, man.
yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, this is just like everything. Like we all got 100 balls in the air, right? I got 100 balls in the air. My wife's over there, Terrell, honey, and she'll test to it. Yeah, a round of applause for my wife because she's dealing with my ass all the time.
I know it.
How do you do it?
Yeah, seriously.
God bless her.
And so I mean, but Duncan, thank you for being here because without our sponsors, we wouldn't be in this lawyer's building. If they only knew what we're doing tonight,
This is a lawyer building. Nobody knows.
it's full of lawyers.
That was great.
It's full of lawyers, and we have so
Malaca,
Duncan.
give me your
Thank you
number.
for sponsoring us and being here.
No, but
Show.
it's
It's Duncan Coffee, and
I'll take this
we
to my
use
son.
them.
Take it.
And so we'll put all the information that you need in the show notes. So Phil Phoenix, bro, thanks for making all these microphones happening. Audio engineer, the Bob and Haley podcast producer, Venus Flytrap. Thanks for bringing the grapes, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and Jay, thanks for making the video thing happen, right? So
Phone is fucking it up, man. I'm talking to Johnny. He's a loud mouth.
CARRAPPA.
yeah, so you guys are all great. Listen, we're gonna sign off on the show, but thank you
What am I
again.
doing wrong
All
here?
our sponsors: Dunkin' Coffee, Aceway Incorporated, Texas Beef Council,
Crime now.
Scoffy School of Culinary Arts, American Culinary Federation, and listen to you guys. If you're on the audio podcast, go watch this show on the Recipe Podcast on the YouTube channel because you got to see all these characters on here. So love you guys. Go share the show with a mother, brother, father, friend.
Johnny, don't say a word.
What?
You going through all your business. I'm
I
not
am.
doing this show with Arturo one more time.
Okay. All right. So anyway, God
Just
bless,
starting to get
God bless
warmed
y'all.
up, too, man.
God bless y'all, and thank you for listening to the show. Remember, you're especially great. Make an impact on someone's life today. See you next time.
Arturo.
Bravo.
5, 6, 9, 6, 8, 8.
Arturo, you're this close to putting it on the sweet.